Hello lovely people and welcome to my tutorial for today. I'm still your friend the needy woman and I hope you guys are okay. Thank you guys for being here with me. I appreciate you guys so very much for your love, for your comments, your likes. Thank you also for subscribing. And if you are new to this channel, please don't leave without hitting that red icon to subscribe. And don't also forget to touch the notification bell. It enables you get information as soon as I upload. Okay, so for our tutorial today, we're going to be making an off-shoulder short dress with cape. Okay, it's going to be an exciting tutorial. And like I would always say, please be nice to someone today. It gives you true joy and happiness. Let's go there. So the body measurement we shall be needing for this tutorial are as follows: the bust, the waist, okay, and then our half length and full length. By half length I mean, since it's an off shoulder, to start from here to the under bust, which is 8 inches, and then also you drag it to a little bit above the knee. I'll be using 31 inches, and then I will now lift the beginning of my tape, place it at that 31 and continue in order to get my full length. This is what I mean. For my half length, it's going to be 2, this is 1, that is 8, to get the curvy area of the bust, and then you drag it down. Okay, so you drag it down to the length you want. I'll be using 31 inches. I can't bend right now because if I bend, it's going to alter it. 31 inches. So I'm going to lift this one again, place it at the 31 to get my full length, which is 8 inches. That is what I'll be using. Okay, I hope I'm well understood. And then also a hip measurement. All right. So I'm going to be cutting the back panel first of all. I will need to fold my fabric into 2 with a zip allowance of 2 inches. So the length is 31. I'll be adding 1.5 inches extra for allowance. So I'll be measuring 32.5. Okay. I will now measure. Remember, for the front side, for this curvy area of the bust, it was 8 inches, which is here. So my waist is going to fall at 9 inches, just 1 inch away from the under bust, which is 9 inches. Okay. So and the waist measurement is 29 divided into 4 will give us 7.25. That's 7.25, which is here. I'll add 1 inch for that, and then 2 inches for allowance. Okay. Now for my bust is 33 inches. Divided into 4 is 8.25. 8.25. I'll be adding 2 inches extra for allowance. Okay. And this is the waist. Okay. Now for my hip, which is 8 inches away from the waist area. Some can be 9 inches anyway, but knowing the person I'm making the dress for is 8 inches. So my hip is 40 divided into 4 will give us 10. I'll add 2 inches extra for allowance, leaving us at 12. So I'll now connect it. And then I need to drag this hip measurement down to the hemline. That is 12 inches. I'm connecting it to my hip. Okay. Now with this done, I'm going to move in by 2 inches. If you like, you can use 1.5. If you like, you can use 2. It depends on how narrow you want this lower side to be, but I'll be moving in by 2 inches. So now I'll connect these 2 inches to my hip measurement. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is what we have. I hope you can see this. So this is it. This is my zipper allowance. Okay. Okay, so for the neckline, this is our zipper allowance, remember. For the neckline, I will use 5 inches. Okay. And then for our armhole, I will use 3 inches here. So I will just place a line from this 5 inches at the neckline to this 3 inches of our armhole. This is what I mean. Okay, now here I would like to leave it straight, but if you like, you can give your own a curve. It is optional, but I don't want a curve. I want it straight this way. Okay, so now as it is, we will now cut. Already, I'm sure you know how to insert your dart. Okay, so I will just cut it now. Now we'll go for the front panel. Okay, so for the front panel, we're going to be doing it the way we do our off shoulder. I said our length is 32.5. It's 31, but I added 1.5 inches extra for allowance at the back. So I'm going to be doing same at the front, which is now here. I need to be sure. Okay. All right. Now for the curvy area of the bust, I said it was 8 inches. I'll be adding 1/2 inch extra because of the fold at the upper part. So I'll measure 8.5 inches. Okay. And then our waistline is going to be 1 inch at the under bust, 1 inch below the under bust, which is here. Okay. And then our hip line is going to be 8 inches from the waistline, which is here. Okay. And then the 1/2 of 8 is going to give us 4, which is here. Sorry, 1/2 of 8.5 is going to give us 4.25, which is here. Okay, so I'm now going to make all of this into a straight line. Okay, this is our bust line. This is our under bust. This is our waistline. And this is our hip line. Okay, I hope you can see all these markings. Now the next thing I will do is to measure my bust point to bust point, which is 8 inches divided into 2. Since this fabric is on fold, is 4 inches. I will also add 1/2 inch extra for seam allowance. So I'll be measuring 4.5 inches. I will drag it right from the up down to the hemline. So it's going to cut across the bust, the under bust, the waist, the hip, and then to the hem line. Okay, so now with the bust point to bust point line drawn out, I have to move in towards the folded area by 1 inch and to the unfolded area by 1.5 inches. Sorry, 1 inch. Please don't mind me. 1 inch here, 1 inch here. 1 inch, 1 inch. Okay. Now this is the midpoint. That is our bust line. I have to go up and come down by 1 inch. So 1 inch up, 1 inch down. Okay. Now at the under bust, I'll be going in by 1 inch here, 1 inch here. Okay. Now I'll be connecting this 1 inch to this point, this 1 inch to this point. Same with the other side, like so. This 1 inch to here, this 1 inch to this one, this 1 inch to here, then this 1 inch to here. So this is what you have. Okay. So the next will be to connect these are 1 inch on both sides to this our hip line to form our dart. This is what I mean. So this now is our dart. Okay. So we can now place our body measurement. My bust measurement is 33 divided into 4 is 8 1/4. 8 1/4. I'll be adding 3 inches extra for allowance. You can add as much inches as you want just to be on a safe side. Okay. Now for our waist measurement, this is a bust. Our waist is 29 divided into 4 is 7 1/4. 7 1/4. And then we remove 2 inches here, 1 on each side. We are going to be adding that back. And then 3 inches allowance. Okay. And now our hip measurement is 40 divided into 4 will give us 10. I'll be adding also 3 inches seam allowance. Okay. Now I need to drag this hip allowance down to the hemline and then move in by 2 inches. Okay. Okay, so this is my hip measurement. I dragged it down. I will just move in by 2 inches. That is if you want it to narrow very well. If you don't want, you can use 1.5 inches as you like. Okay, so I'm going to connect these 2 inches to my hip line. This is what I mean. Okay. Okay, so I will now connect to my waist and then to my bust. You know, ordinarily it is supposed to go this way to get that hourglass shape at this point. Okay, but it's not so because we have not removed here. By the time we remove here and push it in, it is going to give us that shape. That is why the bust is here, not this way, and the shape is like this. But by the time we remove these 2 inches here, it's going to give us something similar to this. All right, so I'll just now cut out all of this. I will remove from here and take it down. I will also remove from here and take it down and then cut the side. Okay, so this here is going to form our dart. Okay, but you make sure it is not sharp. Okay, so this is what we have. All right, you make sure there are no sharp points. All right, so I will now proceed to cut the lining, cut the wooding, and then line it. Now for the lower part, remember I said from this point down you have 31, then from that 31 you have 8 inches. For that 8 inches you will use the length of as many as you want. It depends on how full you want that down part to be. Okay, so for the gathers at the knee side, I used 4 yards. You can choose to use more than this. Okay, I used 4 yards. I'll be just folding it at the lower side. This is more than 8 inches, but by the time I take in the fold, I'll be left with 8 inches. I'll make sure of that. and I will not be lining it, I'll be putting it this way. Okay, so I'll just cut my lining and my wooding and start sewing. Okay, now as you can see, I've cut the lining. I'm going to proceed now to line the zipper area and the other side, just the two sides. I won't be closing up the neckline or the armhole area, just the zipper area and the hip area. Okay, now for the front also, I've also glued my wooding, as you can see. So I will just proceed. This also is my lining for the front. So I will proceed to join the front separately. That is the fabric, these three pieces separately. I will also join the lining separately before I now line these two sides also. I hope I'm well understood. I'm going to be joining these three separate. I will also join the lining separate, and then I'll bring this one and the lining together, sew them at the two sides. Okay. Also, you can see I did not put any slanting for the armhole at the front side. It's intentional. I would want to impute it when I am joining it to the back so that both of them will be equal. That's why I have not put it yet. So here is the back. I've lined it. So when I did the lining, I had to turn it over to the right side, then close up this hemline area, and then the upper part and the armhole. I hope it's well understood. And I also inserted my dart. My dart went as far as the hemline. I hope you got it. This is it. Bust point to bust point, which is 4. I added 1/4 inch as my seam allowance, and then did my dart all the way down to the hemline. Okay, this is the other side. Alright, now this is the front panel. I did exactly what I did at the back. I made my stitch on the two sides. I turned it over, then closed up the hemline and the upper part. Okay, so now the next thing I will do is to insert my zip at the back side. When I finish the insertion of the zip, we will now talk about the joining. I've also folded the lower part of my gathers. Okay, so I'll proceed to now gather it, but that will be after the joining, because it is the measurement at this lower part I'm going to use as the circumference to draw the gathers for this. So the next thing I'll do now is to join the back together. I'm supposed to insert the zip, but because there's going to be cape, I will not be inserting the zip now. So I will use my pin to hold it. I will join maybe from around here down to the hemline, and then I'll use my pin to hold this upper part before we now join it to the front panel. Okay, now holding it firm with my zip, I will now join to the front panel. I will do so using the body measurement, which is bust 33, waist 29, hip 40. Okay, so with the front and the back joined together, this is what we have. So now I can comfortably trim away this armhole area. Okay. Alright, we're coming to that later. Now for the gathers for the lower side, all I need to do is to measure this circumference, use it to gather this piece of cloth I cut out. I hope I'm well understood. I have to measure this circumference, use it to gather this piece of cloth. Okay, so after the measurement I got 39, so that's the measurement I'll use to ruffle these gathers. I will just start right away as I've already made my stitch on it. So I will start to gather it together. If you don't want to gather it together, you can as well carefully pleat it on the fabric as you go. You pleat it very tiny pleat, but I prefer to do the gathers because it saves time. Okay, so here I have gathered the lower part using the circumference of this hem line. The next thing should be to attach it to the body of our dress at this hem line. All right, this is it after the joining. I hope you can see how it came out. Okay, so here we go for the cape. Now looking at it, you can see this is an off shoulder, and we need to put a handle here and here. Okay, now the round shoulder of this person is 40 inches. 40 inches. So we will need to measure from this point to this point and that of the back, join it together, then subtract it from 40. Whatever we get will be the handle for both sides. Okay, and then putting our measurement, it's 11 inches at both front and back. That is 22 inches. Okay, so 40 inches minus 22 inches is going to give us 18 inches. Okay, now for that 18 divided into 2 will be 9 inches. So on each side I'm going to be cutting out a tiny band that will form the handle of 9 inches. So I'll be using 10 inches. 1 inch should be for the sewing allowance. So I'll just proceed to cut out a tiny band of about 2 inches. Okay, and that will be for the handle where the cape is going to sit, since it's an off shoulder. All right, so these are the two handles for these two sides. I will just proceed to close up this opening here and then attach it like so, this way and also this way. I will also do the same thing at the other side so that our cape will see where to sit properly. Okay, so this is the handle properly fixed. Now I will need to close up this armhole. I will just need to neaten it. I will just fold it in like this and make my stitch just so it will be neat. Okay, so I'm now going to use the measurement here, which is 42. The 2 is the seam allowance or the zipper allowance now. So I'm going to use the measurement of 42 to cut my cape. Okay, all right, so for the cape, it's not going to be circular, it's going to be somewhat straight. All right, remember our neckline was 40 inches and then 2 inches extra for the zipper allowance, but I'll be using, like, instead of making it 21, I folded it, by the way, into 2. Instead of making it 21, which is the 42 we're working with, I will extend it to like 50. Okay, you see the way I placed my tape, so I will just make my line following this tape. As you can see, it's not straight. Okay, I hope you can see the line. All right, so for the length of the cape, 8 inches will just be fine. For the back area, this is going to be the zipper side, but as you progress you increase. This is 8.5, This is 9. This is 9.5, and then 10. You can continue to increase it as you like. All right, remember this is at 25, so I'll just close it up this way. Okay, we're going to be opening up this place. This is the zipper area. Okay, so as it is now, we can comfortably cut it. This is our cape. The reason I added the extra inches here is so that at the shoulder here, I'll give it just a little crease for easy movement of the hand. Okay, so I'll just proceed to cut this one out. Okay, so this is it. I've carefully cut it out. I will also open up the zipper area. Now I'll need to cut my lining for it and then proceed to line this one separately. Each of them I will line this way. I'll first make my stitch like this. I will top stitch and then pull it up a little bit to also line this point. Only this neckline will be left open. Okay. All right, so I have top stitched. The next thing I will do now is to pull the front side. Remember, the shorter side is the zipper area. Okay, so I'm going to pull the front side up a little bit, say by 1/4 inch or by 1/2 inch, like so, this way. Okay, and then I'll close it up before I now turn it. Okay, now as you can see, I've closed it up. The next thing I should do is to turn it over and then sew the neckline. All right, I'll just turn it over like this and sew the neckline. Okay, so this is it, our cape. You can see it. I use the fabric as the lining also. All right, I also determined the midpoint here. You can see the little notch I gave here. That's the midpoint. Okay, so I'm going to start attaching from the back. All right, but before then I have to also determine the midpoint here. Okay, you can see I already gave the notch too. Okay, now for the sleeve area, I have to also determine the midpoint. The idea is so that this midpoint on the cape must lap at this midpoint on the sleeve in order to make sure you got it correctly. Okay, now I will start to attach my cape. Now this is the right side, this is the right side, this is the wrong side. Okay, you attach from within. You attach from within like so. You are going to sew it this way through the handle, and when you get to this midpoint, you make a little crease just to make sure that this midpoint on the cape is slapping with the midpoint on the handle. Okay, and then you continue and make sure that this end stops at the midpoint here. Let me repeat again. You start attaching from within, making sure that the right side faces the wrong side. Now here is the right side, this is the wrong side. Right side against wrong side. Okay, at this point we make sure this crease laps, this midpoint, this notch laps with the notch on the handle. Okay, and then you make sure also that the end laps with the notch at the midpoint. Okay, so whatever that is remaining, you have to make a crease at this sleeve area. Okay, so I'll go to the machine and do just that. And then after that, you have to turn it over again and top stitch. All right, so the next thing now will be to top stitch again, having added the cape. You can see the way I creased this area, the two of them. Okay, so the next thing will now be to top stitch. So I'm going to be top stitching on top of my fabric. This is the cape. Okay, this is the right side, so I'm going to top stitch this way. Okay, so that when it turns over, it can slip very well. So I'll go ahead and top stitch and then insert my zip, and that will be all. So finally, with the zip inserted, this is our dress, looking so beautiful. You check out the cape. For you that requested a cape dress, here is one for you, looking so fabulous. This is also the back. This is the back area. This is the galas area. Thank you very much for watching till the end, and I sincerely appreciate you guys. If you are new to this channel, please don't leave without hitting the red icon to subscribe and also touching the notification bell in order to get notifications as soon as I upload. And also, please be nice to someone that has no way of paying you back. For dear lives, true joy and happiness. Till we meet again in my next class, I love you from the bottom of my heart, and please take very good care of yourself. Don't also forget to keep your head high. Bye.